All right, everyone. The big news of the day, of course, Jeffrey Epstein now has been brought up on new charges. He had gotten a plea deal, a very, very lenient one considering the charges. The original charges were that some years ago, this is the plea deal that was engineered, was quite slight. Was that he was at a massage place and there were teenage girls there that he was paying for sexual favors and stuff. He had to register as like a sex offender and stuff. But the plea deal was this. I mean, he had essentially what amounts to probation. Technically not, but they let him leave for 6 days a week. And like he's probably been doing perverted shit since then anyway. But there's new charges now of sex trafficking of minors. Literally, he was setting up, some of these underage individuals with other people, even turning them into recruiters after abusing them for a while. These stem from the 2000s. So first and foremost, these charges are not for new behavior. They're for stuff that's even older than the initial charges. They date back to like the Bush era. Number two, I'm seeing a lot of left-wing shills pretending that Trump is in Epstein's little black book, because Trump, of course, had been friendly with him because he's rubbed elbows with basically everyone in D.C., Hollywood, and Wall Street. But that's actually not true. They're conflating the flight logs, the little black book of who was on the so-called Lolita Express. I mean the flight logs with the little black book of people he was doing actual business with. Trump was on the flight log once because he hitched a ride back to New York City, and that's apparently the only time he was ever on the flight. So Trump never actually visited Epstein's island. Unlike Bill Clinton, who visited it supposedly a number of times along with a lot of other celebrities and politicians. Now, they've got to be a little bit nervous because the initial charge against Epstein that they got him in on, and here's what I think happened, and I hope that this is the case. I think that they did a sting on Epstein, and they told him, rat other people out, we're going to need your cooperation, fucking rat him out, and you get this plea deal, because it is an extremely lenient plea deal for the charges involved. That was engineered by Acosta, appointed there by Trump directly, I believe, through the DOJ, or at least overseen by it. Trump, of course, knew what was going on. He probably had a hand in engineering the deal itself. They let Epstein basically go, and they're like, cooperate with us. They did a little digging. They've probably spent this whole time since the initial plea deal digging into this because it could be explosive. They found, that he had been perverted some more. So now they've got to haul him back in, now that they've got all the info they need, and they've got sort of the names of people who are involved. And I wouldn't be surprised if you found a lot of politicians, bankers. I mean, Epstein's a billionaire. His clientele is not going to be some random pervert in a trailer park. We're talking about the millionaire class. We're talking about big bankers. We're talking about, corporate upper management, CEOs and CFOs and stuff. High-level and mid-level politicians, we're talking about celebrities, people like that. It's very funny because if you ever speculate that there are perverts among them, you're called a conspiracy theorist, even though we've got people like Epstein. He's got a billionaire and he's trafficking children. It does actually happen. Unfortunately, what I think happens is that they amalgamate together, and they probably do have like get-ups and weird shit simply to try to protect themselves legally from the scrutiny of the outside. Wasn't Italy's former prime minister wasn't he perverted and he had like a fake volcano like in some island resort that he liked to go to, and he had like teenagers doing weird shit there and stuff? And that was like, I guess, even common knowledge or something. People were going and visiting him, and he had like his own private cave and where he would do like orgies and shit. And this stuff, I mean, it actually happens. The thing is, there are perverts in society. When you give a pervert billions of dollars, yes, they're going to do extravagant, weird shit, probably meet up with other perverts, and they'll have, like, pervert parties and stuff. Epstein seems to have been one of the linchpins of pervert partydom. It's just the way that it is. It's concerning that he was given the initial plea deal, and, he could have done weird shit since then, although I'm sure he was under strict surveillance. I don't think there's any evidence particularly that he's done, and some people are acting like these charges are new, like, oh, he was trafficking children in the here and now. No, these are charges from the mid-2000s. Like, I think, what was it, 2005 was the end date for their investigation, the scope of it as far as this goes. So who was, the Clintons were still very active in politics, by the way, at the time. I think, when did Clinton travel to Epstein's private rape island? The one with the weird, almost religious-looking cubicle building there. When did he go to Rape Island? It's basically what it is. It's funny because, again, if you suggest that there were weird things going on there and that people may have been going to his private island for ulterior reasons, you're a conspiracy theorist. No, I don't think so. He was trafficking children. Don't you think he could have been involved in making extra money by saying, oh yeah, we can get children abducted anywhere in the world, we bring them to the island, and people do weird shit and then fucking toss their body in the ocean or something? Why not? Like a Hostel sort of situation. Have you ever seen that movie? Very brutal, by the way, Hostel. I think there was a second one. I can't remember if I saw it. Probably like all sequels, probably no good. Sort of like any other sequel in history. By the way, Evil Dead 2 not nearly as good as the first Evil Dead release. Unpopular opinion for some odd reason. The first one's legendary. Yeah. So Epstein has been brought in on new charges. It's like big surprise. So the pervert was trafficking children like a decade ago. I'm so surprised about this fact. People, though, are pretending that Trump is implicated somehow by this because years ago he said that he was friends with Epstein. If he didn't know, how the fuck, he never went to his private island. He obviously wasn't seeking that side of his services. He was just a fellow billionaire that he happened to rub elbows with. It is possible to know someone in a friendly manner and not really know about their personal life. Apparently, Trump was blissfully unaware. I have a feeling the plea deal was to get info out of him. Basically, you cooperate, it's strictly off the record. We're going to need names. We're going to need some, various material here. We need to know where the bodies are buried in the most literal sense. And then we're not going to fuck up your life too bad. But then they kept digging, pertinent probably to their investigation of these other people. And they followed that trail back, and it led to Epstein again in the past, and they couldn't avoid helping but to put more charges on him. Hopefully he faces life in prison. Which would be justified for trafficking minors, and he'll rot in jail, and it won't matter that he's rich. I mean, I guess he can get drugs smuggled into jail so that he doesn't get raped too many times. Not saying that he might not enjoy that because he's into weird shit, but yeah. So it's a good day for the world. We've got one less billionaire. Not to be a conspiracy theorist here, but a billionaire child trafficker in prison. It's very funny because if you'd said that the other day, you'd be a conspiracy theorist. Now you say it and you agree with the DOJ. Interesting how that works. Maybe the term conspiracy theory should be retired because it doesn't actually have any fucking relevance. It's used by a bunch of neolibs to try to cover. They're trying desperately right now to conflate Trump being in the flight log once to New York City with Trump visiting Epstein's island that never happened to try to cover the ass of Bill Clinton, who went to his island over and over again. I wonder what he was doing there. Could it be that we know Bill Clinton's perverted and likes females? Well, maybe he doesn't have a problem with 15-year-olds or 14-year-olds. He's Bill Clinton. He doesn't have a problem with Monica Lewinsky of all people, so I can't imagine that he has that big a problem with being choosy. I think Bill Clinton's just like Joe Biden. He likes any age. He doesn't really care. From cradle to grave, and maybe, some steps into the post-mortality processes. Maybe he likes that too. I'm sure if he paid enough money, he could do whatever he wanted at Epstein's island. I bet they should explore the islands. Like, is there an underground cave system there where Salvini keeps, his rape victims and stuff? Probably. That's about all. Peace out.